On July 2nd, 2025, in Truman, Arkansas, dispatch received an anonymous request for a welfare check at a quiet residence. Just after 1 p.m., officers respond to the home of 38-year-old Samantha Platts. From the moment they arrive, they sense that something is not right.
Come to the door, please. You were just standing at this front door.
I'm disabled. It takes me a minute to get out of bed.
Okay, somebody was standing right here. I heard them, so.
No.
Okay.
A cat, maybe.
I'm Officer Davis and I work for the Truman Police Department. We received
a call from my daughter because she's pissed off that I won't let her go to, my youngest go
to do a welfare check on a 10-year-old.
Go to Cherokee Village with her. She's in her room.
We'd like to see her, please. Step in here with you.
This is my bedroom. It's a mess. The rest
Where's
of the house
Bodie?
is clean. Bodie's in the back, like he always is. He's not inside. This is my bedroom.
Where?
Huh?
And she's in here?
Yep. Her room is clean.
Samantha's description of the house as a mess turns out to be a significant understatement. Officers find garbage and cat feces scattered throughout the property. For a child living in these conditions is immediately flagged as a serious concern. With growing unease, officers move further into the home and locate the child. She is safe, a small relief, but one that doesn't last. Officers still sense that something isn't right, and they suspect there may be more people inside the property. They request full access to the home, unaware of what they're about to find.
Is
in the backyard or back of the house?
Can I get to the back through here?
Yeah.
Is anybody else in the house besides you two? Whose bed is this? What is that?
The mystery deepens. Beyond the mess and the number of cats in the home, officers detect a strong smell of ammonia, an unsettling detail that raises further questions. But something far stranger is still waiting for them.
Bodie Williams! Hey. What are you doing? Who's in there with you? Huh? Sit through here. Save your life, Kevin. Okay, alright. There's a lot to unpack here. A lot to unpack here. Y'all, step out one at a time, please. One at a time, one at a time. Calm down. Yep. Okay.
Oops, sorry.
Keep your eyes on everybody's hands, please. Everybody keep your hands where they can be seen when you step out here, okay?
The first man officers come across is identified as Bodie Williams, Samantha's boyfriend, someone they had already been warned about. He is found hiding inside a filthy den in the shed. Officers struggle to understand why he is hiding, or what exactly is going on inside this house.
Last name, I know.
Arnold.
Doris Arnold. Kevin Jones. Bodie Williams. What are you doing? You call probation patrol, see if somebody can search her. Or Amy. Get Amy. See if Amy.
The other two individuals are identified as Kevin Jones and Doris Arnold. Once their identities are confirmed, officers decide to check the shed, already suspecting they might find something illegal inside. Their suspicions are confirmed.
Kevin Jones, black male, shown to be expired, suspended ID. State Federal, shown to be parolee to Justin Barnes, active supervision, search for criminal file. That'll be for Kevin Jones, date of birth 11/17/81.
Temple.
D1 51 on Bodie.
Go ahead.
Officers find multiple pipes and baggies containing inside the shed. The next step is straightforward. All three individuals found hiding there have prior records, and with the evidence in plain view, they are immediately placed under arrest.
Come over here. Good. And double locking.
Shut 3 and shut 3.
Oh, yeah. You said I'm yours.
Officers initially believe that finding the 3 individuals hiding in the shed means they've uncovered what they came for. But the foul stench, the overwhelming number of cats, and the unsettling condition of the house continue to bother them. Trusting their instincts, they decide to take one more look inside, a decision that will soon prove they were right to be suspicious.
Yeah, I can smell the ammonia is bad enough.
This is the bed she referenced. I'm betting that laptop's his.
Is there any food here at all?
That's what I'm looking for.
There's some cereal right here.
Is so foul. There's no oxygen. The house is filled with flies, and the floor is caving in some parts, and there's just junk and trash and cat poop and pee in every square inch of it. So.
What's the address?
Along with the disgusting condition of the house, officers notice there is very little food inside. Tells them she can't remember the last time she ate. This detail only strengthens their resolve to bring the adults to justice, and they continue the search in earnest, confident it will soon turn up more incriminating evidence.
Or that one. There was allegedly dogs somewhere, but they're claiming there's no dogs on the property. So. Another mention was made of dogs being kept in a shed back here. You know anything about that?
There's no dogs. There hasn't been dogs for months.
You don't have any dogs on the property?
No.
Okay.
There hasn't been dogs in there for almost over a year because police took them a year ago.
But what Samantha has just told officers will soon be proven false, because the very next thing they find tells a completely different story.
Deer don't have teeth like that, do they?
I mean, that would be the back.
No, I'll flip the skull back around. That's a freaking dog, dude. That's a dog.
Take photos of that too.
That is a dog
You
head.
can tell by the back teeth.
The situation takes a strange and shocking turn when officers discover the dogs, a finding that deepens suspicion about what's been happening inside the home. But things grow even more bizarre moments later, when the child suddenly speaks up and says something that sends a chill through everyone listening.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure they're getting taken care of. That way they don't starve or die in the house or anything. Okay.
It's
Jonesboro? I believe so.
it's
Some of the dead cats are in the freezer, so you might want to go in there and take pictures.
Some of the what now?
Cats are in the freezer.
Cats are in the freezer.
Yeah.
I didn't know. No, I'm not hearing that right.
We don't want to get sitting in here and okay.
That's what she said.
Yes, they're cats.
I'm sorry, did I overlook that?
Nope, you didn't. Oh.
Because now I'm thinking about animal.
Yep. One there. There's one back here.
she said there's 12.
Shut up, dude.
Tensions rise quickly because of what the little girl says. What she is saying turns out to be true, and it points to something truly unthinkable.
Nope, okay, not that one.
Okay, I just went in there. Oh my god.
What is that? Is that what that is? Oh. That's not a cat. Oh, dang.
It's probably these.
That's watermelon.
Refrigerator, maybe?
There's a freezer right here. Well, sorry.
Mistaking it for a watermelon gives officers a brief moment of hope, but within minutes, that relief turns into horror as they uncover something that reveals this house is hiding far more than anyone imagined.
I don't know if it's a fridge. It's this one.
Oh.
You want to go get the kid? No, never mind, up there.
Oh, come on, dude. Come on. Oh my God.
Yeah. Take pictures of it?
Oh, it's in both, Blaine. It's in both.
Do you have gloves?
Need some more. Oh my. Those cats were dead when she put them in there. There's a mama in there in a f***ing box with her group of her kittens.
22.
Yeah, make sure. Make sure.
Yeah.
Nothing else in there? Even if the box says hamburgers on it, make sure it's hamburgers.
Yeah, because they use that side for food.
That's just f***ing sad.
Inside the freezer, officers discover 24 cats and kittens stuffed into cardboard boxes alongside frozen food. Even more unsettling is the way their bodies are curled, raising the possibility that they may have been frozen alive. The scene is deeply disturbing, and even seasoned officers are visibly shaken by what they're seeing. As they begin sorting through the discovery, the woman who made the welfare call, the child's older sister, arrives at the scene to take custody of the 10-year-old. She explains the situation that led to her call, giving officers the final piece of the puzzle they needed.
I've already had her at our residence. She was temporarily with me for a little while.
It's probably gonna be a lot longer. So. It's gonna be up to her ultimately.
Okay.
If we don't deal in that, we won't even come to your house because we can't go to bed.
Yeah.
But if it's like this, then it won't happen.
Oh, I know.
So if it's
It's fine.
okay.
So this has been an ongoing issue for a while, but my birthday is this Monday, and she was supposed to. We're going to Cherokee for the weekend.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to come with us. And my mom doesn't celebrate holidays, so she had said that she had made last-minute plans for the 4th and couldn't come with us. And just told me that she had moved some people into the home that had just gotten out of jail, so I didn't feel comfortable leaving her here with random people.
Okay.
Because other than Bodie, I'm not sure who else is here.
Well, Bodie's probably not a good person to be around.
Oh, no,
anyways.
he's not. I've had a few issues with Bodie. Me and Bodie has gotten calls out here because we fist fought. About a year ago, I beat him with a PVC pipe.
Her explanation confirms, once and for all, that Samantha should never have had custody of the to begin with. Both Samantha Platts and Bobby Williams are charged with 24 counts of aggravated animal cruelty. As the full scope of the case comes to light, Samantha also faces an additional charge of second-degree endangering the welfare of a minor. In December 2025, Williams accepted a plea deal on 1 count of aggravated cruelty to a dog or cat, receiving 36 months probation, along with a ban on owning or being around pets. Samantha, meanwhile, continues to wait for trial, the legal battle surrounding this case far from over.